Hello everybody, it's Saber Wolf, and yeah, so I figured I'd do a little quick stream for you guys. Been thinking about an alternate character to play as a backup, and we kind of playing around with this idea of this rogue. It's one of the psychic rogues that are out there, and I'll dive into it a little bit deeper when we get in here. But so this is gonna be a little bit of a theory crafting stream. I'm still sick, guys, for the past like 2 weeks now. My cough is still not getting any better. So I'm probably going to have to reach out to my doctor probably tomorrow. But yeah, so I'm going to try to do my best to just chit chat with you guys for a little bit. Even though I probably shouldn't my voice, but but yeah. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is going to dive into this. I've been working on this for a while and looking for race and stuff like that. So let me get into it and show you what I mean. So this is a character I've been working on. Their name is Shadow Sault. Or this I had a various other version. Was a Herringon version because the new Witchlight came out, but I elected to just go back to the original, which was a Swift Stride. So I'm going back to the Swift Stride here because I kind of like it a little more that way. What I'm theory crafting now, though, is whether or not if I want to go Bard or go by Fighter. So that's the question I have going on right now. So let me just bring up my 5e tools here, get that going. I forgot to put up forgot to pull up the Bard page, so I'm gonna load that up here in a second. Yeah, unfortunately, ads though. But yeah, 5e Tools is a wonderful site. It's a free site, basically, except for the ads. Um, but yeah, it's a great site to use to try to figure out everything there is in 5e. So I highly recommend it. So yeah, we got Bard, we got Whisper, Fighter, that one. Okay. Right, so let me pull up. So this is what the character sheet looks like right now. So this is basically Swift Stride was Bard. This is the Bard variation. I'm going to right as live on stream. I'm going to build out a fighter version. But for Swift Stride, what Swift Stride gave me over the Herringon though was Dark Vision, because the Herringon actually doesn't have Dark Vision, surprisingly enough. You would think with everything else that's Fey with the elves and everything else, you think they would have Dark Vision, but they don't. So yeah, so Dark Vision is always a plus, of course. The Swift Stride. Now as a bonus action, this can take a bonus action to what's called Shift. What shifters do is they basically take on a more animalistic nature when they go into a different form. And then for that 1 minute, they'll do that form and they get special bonuses. One of the bonuses they all get is that they get temporary HP based on their current level, which for this case would be 6, and plus your Constitution modifier, which is 2. So in this case, it would be a plus 8 temporary HP, which is really not that bad. And then for this version of it, for Swift Stride, your maximum, your walking speed increases by 10 flat. So instead of being 30, it turns into 40. And as a reaction, you can move up 10 feet away from a creature that ends your turn within 5 feet of you. So in other words, if a creature comes up to you and tries to hit you, and they end their turn there, as a reaction on the end of their turn, you can move 10 feet away, and it does provoke an opportunity attack. Now for their Herringon, you can do that, but you could do that as a bonus action. Problem is with that is that if you're already a rogue, you already get that with disengage. So why get it? So why get it with a racial ability when you already have it as a skill from a rogue? So you already have a cunning action disengage. So why even bother getting that? And lastly, it was you get graceful, which is acrobatics. That's kind of a mute point. For Herringon, you get perception, but I would pick up perception anyways off of a race or the one of the 4 you pick for the rogue. I would keep that anyways. So that's what I thought. So that's why I've got Swift Stride right now. But for the Bard part, when I'm thinking about canceling out for Bard, which is the Whispers, is on top of the Bardic Inspiration, of course, is that the Words of Terror, if you speak to a humanoid alone for at least 1 minute, you can attempt to seed paranoia in their mind. At the end of the conversation, the target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC, or be frightened of you or another creature you choose. The target is frightened this way for 1 hour until it's attacked or damaged, or until it witnesses its allies being attacked or damaged. If the target succeeds on a saving throw, the target has no hint that you try to frighten it. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again on a short or long rest. So basically, that is a intimidation tactic for kind of torturing information out of people. That's pretty much what that is. So not really interested in that. But it's a Psychic Blade part where you expend a Bardic Inspiration die, and you add additional 2d6 psychic damage to the target on a weapon attack. So basically, it's an extra 2d6 sneak attack, think of it, damage on the top of it. Now, the rogue I'm using is the Soul Knife. And for Soul Knife, you basically can pop out, and I can actually just show you in the picture of the character. You pop out these 2 blades out, and they deal psychic damage, as opposed to piercing or slashing or whatever damage you want to deal with as a rogue. This turn, he actually deals psychic damage, which a lot of things aren't immune to. Yes, you have mind flares and stuff like that you could actually be kind of immune to that kind of damage. But if you're not meeting those things, you should be fine. So with that, you get the rogue. So you pop out these 2 daggers. They can be thrown. They count as finesse. You use your dexterity as the modifier to attack with them. It's a 1d6, so not much damage, not much different than if you're using a regular weapon. And if you hit with an attack, you can use your bonus action to, I think it's bonus action, right? No, I guess this is part of this. Yeah, it's a bonus action. So as a part of a bonus action, you can do an extra attack. So basically, you get 2 attacks to 1. The extra attack is only 1d4, but if you miss with your first attack, you can get your second attack in. Depending on what the parameters are in the situation, you might still be able to get the sneak attack in that way and go from there. You also get this cool kind of psychic power, which allows you basically to, if you fail an ability check, you can add a 1d8 to the 1d6 to the roll. That goes up as progressively as you level up. In this case, it'd be extra 1d6. Most things out there, like Ryan, it's like it's either 1d4 or Ryan, it's actually a 2d4. This starts at a 1d6 and actually progressively goes up to a 1d12. Now, we're not going to ever get to the 1d12. We'll probably get to a 1d8 or 1d10. But adding 1d10 to an ability check roll, especially in a rogue, where you're probably proficient in all of them anyways, that's actually pretty much automatic success no matter what you do. I will try to remember to mute the mic as I cough, though, so I'm not coughing in your ears. And I'm sorry, I know my voice is pretty crap right now. I'm trying, but I'm trying not to use my voice. I really am. So I'm probably still stuck with this voice for a while. Then you got, that's the ability check one. And then you get to Psychic Whispers, which basically you can telepathically communicate with anybody. The first time you use it, you don't have to spend a die for it, but each subsequent use after that, you have to spend a die for it. The creature has to be within 1 mile, so obviously that's going to be fine if you're infiltrating a house or something. I'm pretty sure 1 house is not going to be a mile. And so you get those extra abilities that way. So what I was thinking about was the bard wasn't really tickling the right area. I mean, yes, you get an extra 2d6 on a roll, but with bardic inspiration, you only get 3 uses of it. Versus psychic power, you're getting your proficiency bonus times 2 for the amount of uses. You actually get 6 uses of it instead of 3 uses. So I was thinking about converting this actually into a fighter instead. So I copied it over so we get the basics down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into a warrior. And that's what we're going to do on stream. The rope part actually stays the same, so I actually have to go into the guts of this thing, change this to fighter, change the subclass to Psy Warrior, PSI Warrior. Alright, and now we go back to the gore part. Now the die actually changes there now. I may have to engage that because it's actually 2 different dies. Now, I think there's a check mark where you can split up the hit dies here. I hit that track per class on. There we go. There we go. Now we have our D10s and D8s. I'm going to keep the level the same there. Now the average health actually goes up. Not just by when I do these builds and stuff, I test things out. I just take the average of the hit die for the roll. So per level on a bard like that, it's a D8, which would be a 5. But on the fighter, it's actually a 6. So I have to add 3 to this. So this turns into 46 HP. So I actually get a little bit more HP. Just a little bit. Also for fighter, most people misconstrue fighter for a multi-classing that you have to have strength. No, you have to have 13 strength or 13 dexterity. So it could be either or. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have just strength or both. So you can multiclass that way. Now, when you multiclass onto fighter, you do lose the proficiency for heavy armor. But if we're doing stealthy stuff like a rogue is supposed to be, we're not going to really want the heavy armor anyways, so don't have to worry about it. Let me know if you like this deeper voice, by the way. I'm kind of getting annoyed of it. I kind of want my voice back, but yeah, it's just the way it is, I guess, for now. So instead of putting copy of, we're going to do that. I'm going to do RF for rogue fighter, just to make it represent differently. Down here, so these 3 down here, or 4 rather, down here, are going to change out. And we'll just copy paste over them. This psychic blade actually is going to go away, because we're not doing that. And we lose cure wounds, actually. And we're going to lose all our spells. And one thing we would have had with Bard is we'd have all these spells. So invisibility, enhanceability, featherfall, disguise self. So we're losing all that stuff, unfortunately. So all this stuff goes away. So that would have been one good thing with Bard, is having those extra spells and stuff, being able to turn invisible and disguise self and stuff like that. But we're gonna have to, so we're gonna see what more of a combat version of this would be. Now we do pick up actually medium armor for a proficiency, so that helps a little bit. And I do believe we pick up martial weapons. Because I don't think we had martial weapons before. So pick up all martial weapons to use, even though we're not really, even though we're baffing out our two psychic daggers, but that's fine. And then for fighter, now I'm gonna switch over to this. So you see where I'm pulling this information out. This is 5e tools right here. And I'm pulling information off of that, and I'm going to move it over into the other side. Now there's a lot of things to pull off of this. We got fighting style, stuff like that. So we're going to swap out some of that stuff. So instead of bardic inspiration, it's now going to be fighting style. Now fighting style I've been kind of wrestling with, because typically I've been trying to use this build as a dagger throwing build. Class fighter 1. Just typically a throwing dagger build. So I've been trying to figure out if I want to go with dueling, which will give you a +2 to the damage, or if I want to go with throwing, which drawing the weapon and throwing a property as a part of the attack, and then make it with a weapon. That part doesn't matter because you're just bamfing them out and you're attacking with them at the same time anyways. So that part's not going to really matter much. So what we're looking at right here is if we want to go with the now the other part of throwing, the other part of throwing is you get the +2 damage bonus roll anyways, and you just do it from range as opposed to the dueling. So you still get the 2 +2 bonus to the damage roll. So basically the same thing, except we just do it from range. The other one I was thinking about possibly getting would be the 2 weapon fighting, because technically speaking, if we go into the soul knife part, yeah, this is it right here. After the attack, okay, so this part right here we're looking at. So after the attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action in the same turn, provided your other hand is free to create it. So by reading that tells me it's an offhand weapon. So we're back to this. So this will add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. Our ability modifier is dexterity. Dexterity is a +4. Now, so do you add a +4 to only the offhand attack, or do you use a +2 to each of the attacks? Last time I checked, 2 + 2 is 4. Plus, if we're going to do fighter, we're going to get 2 attacks with a primary hand, which means that we're actually be going from a +6 to a +4. So 2 weapon fighting is not going to do it. Hey, Lich Queen, how you doing? Nice, used to DM. I hadn't DM'd in about God, I don't want to date myself or make myself sound old. Even though I sound old terrible because my voice is horrible. Yeah, I haven't DM'd like 25 years until this past year, and I've actually DM'd twice with 2 one-shots. I did 2 Candlekeep Mysteries with the guys for Friday Night Dice. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, we do it every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here. I stream our games. And if you can't watch them, that's fine. We also have them available on Spotify and Google Podcast. Those are a little bit behind right now because we kind of started those late. But those will be available soon. It'll be caught up probably towards the 3/4 of the way through this month in November. Those will be caught up by then to what we're doing real time. So we're also available, like I said, on Spotify. And also, all our VODs and all our highlights are also available on my YouTube, which is SaberWolf18. But yeah, I DM'd twice. I did 2 Candlekeep Mysteries. I did the Lore of the Rouge, which is actually our most popular, most viewed actually episode that we've done. So that's kind of cool. And I also did a Halloween special with the Book of the Raven, which a lot of people said that was the week's one, but I made it a little more Halloween themed, so I dressed up a bit. Plus, one of our guys their character just fit in that adventure because of a certain thing that was in it. So that actually made it a lot more interesting, be having a player-on-player fight in the middle of the episode. So I didn't originally plan that until like a month later. I looked at it, I was looking at the paperwork, and I'm like, wait, this person plays this character. Oh crap, this is gonna be cool. So yeah. So going back to this, so yeah, I'll pay attention to the chat, and yeah, if you have questions or anything, I'll chat with you. But going back to this fighting style, so yeah, obviously 2 weapon fighting is going to do it, because if we're going to have 2 attacks plus a offhand bonus attack, so that's going to be a +6 if we do that. So you have to keep with the throwing, which as a rogue, that keeps us at range, because these go 60 feet with these daggers, because you kind of, I mean, the build is kind of like channeling a rogue from Marvel. In a way, it's just summoning the daggers, kind of throwing them out. That's the idea of this build. So we might have to go with throwing, actually. We don't really get the extra benefit of drawing a weapon and throwing it at the same time. I mean, that's implied, because if we go back to the rogue, you manifest the blades. Whenever you take the attack action, you can manifest the blade in your free hand and make the attack with the blade. So you already get that benefit anyways, so you're not really getting much. But it doesn't matter anyways, because the second portion of it is getting the +2 to the damage roll, which is the same thing that we're getting with the dueling. It's a +2 damage. Oh, wait, when you melee weapon, you have no other weapons. Actually, you know what? There is a weapon in your other hand, technically. So dueling actually won't work. So you have to take throwing. So we are going to take the throwing weapon. So we're going to copy that. Come back over to our roll 20. Paste that throwing weapon in there. Get rid of that part there. Smash it up a little bit. And there we go. So we got our fighting style. So now we're going to convert the rest of this. So we got our fighting style done. We get second wind now, so Song of Rest, which is kind of interesting. Kind of the same thing, almost. Same idea. So the second one will make it more interesting. This kind of replaces our Cure Wounds that we lost. Oops. This is class. Fighter 1. We're going to pull over our second wind. Oh, that's action surge. Whoops, there it is. It always doesn't catch that first letter. It's weird. So 1d10 plus your fighter level. So that's a 1d10 plus 3, as opposed to Cure Wounds, which is a 1d6 plus 1d6 plus 3. We only get 1 use of it, as opposed to 4 spell slots plus 2 second level slots. So that portion of it, doesn't really help. I guess it makes it a little weaker, but we can do this as a bonus action as opposed to the action. So yeah, half one dozen the other. But we're just going to be mixing it right up in combat though. So all right, so instead of Words of Terra, we're going with Action Surge. This is class ability. We're on Fighter though. This is a Fighter 2 ability. Get rid of all that. So this gives us an extra set of attacks. Now we won't. Now at this stage of the game, we won't have. We're not going to have the second attack because we don't get that until level 5. But eventually we would be able to attack 5 times as a rogue, with one of those attacks having sneak attack damage bonus damage. So as each attack hits, it's only going to be, well, granted, if each attack only hits, it's only going to be like a 1d6 plus 2 plus 4 plus... Okay, let me put it this way. The 4 attacks will all be 1d6 plus 2 plus 4, plus 4. So 1d6 plus 6. Then one of the attacks could have additional 2d6 sneak attack damage. And then the other fighter ability gives you an additional 1d6 that you can pop off on an attack as well. Oh, but you have to base it off intelligence. So the only problem with this is I would have to move my... Okay, so my charisma score would have to go to 11, and my intelligence score would have to go up to 16, actually. I would have to flip-flop those. Because later on this fighter one, you can add your intelligence modifier to the bonus damage that you add with the sonic strike. But you have to be within 30 feet as opposed to, I think these are 60 feet. Yeah, 60 feet. So you throw the dagger 60 feet, but if you're within 30 feet, you can do an additional psychic energy die damage, which is a 1d6 by 5th level. When we get to 7th level, so still be a 5th level, be a 1d8. So you'll be a 1d8. And then the bonus on later on, let me switch over back over that page. So and then later on, you get an extra attack that I was mentioning, and then we get the telekinetic adapt, which on that you get telekinetic thrust as part of the psychic attack, sonic strike. You can I thought you had the intelligence modifier to the damage. Okay, no. You just basically be able to knock him prone or move up to 10 feet directional horizontally. Now, on that note, by knocking him prone, so you open attack, you only get one chance to do this, knock him prone, which is equal to the DC of 8. DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus and your intelligence modifier. So, which is plus 3. So proficiency bonus is also a 3, right? Yes, 6. So that's 14. Not great right now. DC 14 is kind of low. But DC 14, you could knock him prone. And then in the prone state, go back over to this. Now in the prone state, you're only, let's see, you attack rolls against you have advantage if the attacker is within 5 feet of you. So you could walk up to them, knock them prone, and then you get advantage on all your attacks as a rogue, guaranteeing that you're going to get your sneak attack damage in. So you get that idea too, giving yourself advantage by knocking them prone. So it's kind of a little extra idea, so on that. Okay, so we got action surge. We got to go back up here to the martial archetype, which is the Psy Warrior. So this is where we're replacing Psychic Blades with the Psy Warrior. Yeah, it was interesting that the Psychic Blades Rogue and there was a Psychic Blades Bard. That was kind of weird. So this is a fighter 3. Get rid of all that. Now, fortunately, this is a wall of text that we're definitely going to have to flush out and roll 20 here, unfortunately. All right, so here's our wall of text. Psy Warrior. there's space there. That's fine. Okay, we don't need to repeat that part. Detail below. Okay. Let's see. Some of your powers, blah, 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 blah. Here we can break it up. So protective field. Sonic strike. Telekinetic movement. It's like force shove. Kind of like, I mean, this is kind of a la Rogue from Marvel versus like a Jedi almost. I mean, that's pretty much the idea you have here, as I just killed a spider, mind you. Oh, you know what sucks is my plumbing was supposed to be fixed on my sink today, and the plumber never showed up. So my sink is still broken. Great for me, right? Great for my family right now. Alright, so that's all in there now. So this is like a big wall of text right here. But what do you pull out? I mean, this is a whole wall of text here explaining things. But basically, in short, if we boil it down, it's a 1d6 right now at this level. Which, where is it mentioned? 1d6. So it's a 1d6 right now. It does jump up to a 1d8 when we hit level 5. Which at level 5, so it jumps to a 1d8, and we get our second attack. But basically what we get protective field, which means we can reduce the damage taken by myself or somebody within 30 feet of me. It is a 1d6 plus my intelligence modifier 3, so it's 1d6 plus 3. So it's a 4 to 9 damage reduction. We get Sonic Strike, which we add a 1d6. Oh, it is plus the intelligence modifier. Okay, so it's the first step of it. Okay. So it is plus the intelligence modifier. So it's a 1d6 plus 3. So we would go from a 2d6. Here, let's look that up real quick. Let's see what the damage difference is. Now, this is another application site. This is called Any Dice. And this kind of tells us about what damage output. So you just type output. And you go 2d6, which is what we originally had. Or 1d6 plus 3. And you calculate. And it gives you the average. So the average is here, 2d6 is 16.67. Which is the output of what we have for output 2. Because you're going to get a 16.6% chance to get between 4 and 9. Versus that same chance to hit a 7, so it's right in the middle. So it's about the same. And you can go down on the graph, see where it hits. So this is slightly on the lower end. So it looks like we do a little bit less damage now than we did before. But it does expand up to a 1d8 later. I'll put 1d8 plus 3. And it's actually lower. The percentage chance is lower, but the range is actually going to be higher in the long run here with the extra 7 and 8 roll. So we have a higher chance of getting less damage now than what we did before. But at level 5, we have about the same amount of chance. I guess it's kind of split there. I guess at level 5, I guess it balances out, so it's about the same. Well, no, it won't, because I think it goes up again for Bard, right? Yeah, it would be a 3d6, actually. So this would actually be a 3d6. Oh yeah, look at that bell curve. Bard does a heck of a lot more. But Bard does more. However, you get less uses out of it. Plus, the inspiration, you can give them to other people, or you can add damage to it. I think you only do like one or two things with it. Versus the fighter version is going to give you four ways to use it, and more uses of it. So as opposed to having 3 uses, you have 6 uses, and for less damage but more uses. So if we look at the level 5 range, and we use this on every use, which would be a versus bonus of 4 times 2 is 8. And we use it 8 times. So that's 24. Versus 4 times, which is 12. Output 1 is black. So yeah, there's your thing. Over the course of time, a fighter's going to do more in the long run. Because you're going to have 8 uses of it, which is 8d8 in the long run. And it's plus 3 for your intelligence modifier, which is 24. So 8d8 plus 24. Versus Bard, which would be a 3d6, but you only get 4 uses of it for a total of 12d6. So your max table, so we go to table, your max damage average on your average mean damage is going to be around 60 in the long run for a fighter versus the Bard, which is going to be around 42. So that's an 18-point difference. Yeah, when I have 3 aircraft, I don't mess around, guys. I could dig deep. But I know I'm going to finish this up soon because I know that Critical Role is going to be coming on soon. So I don't want to be competing with them on D&D on Twitch and Critical Role and that stuff. So I'm going to get fried. So yeah, so in the long run, actually, Warrior will be coming on top then. Now, I don't know. Now, the whole aspect of, like, I don't know if I'm going to, like, adjust levels wise for this to try to get to the 2 attacks sooner, which means my Soul Knife Rogue will go down, but you can't do that because you need the 3 levels to get to the Psychic Blades for the Rogue to get the actual build idea out there. Plus, the cool thing about this, again, guys, is that this build doesn't do piercing or slashing damage. It does psychic force damage. Not as many creatures out there are immune to psychic damage. Yes, you have your mind flayers and stuff like that. But there's only 4 creatures in this game that have resistance to force damage. And this part of this build with the warrior part does. This side warrior down here with the side strike actually does force damage. See, rolling it will do force damage. So I'm dealing psychic and force damage with this build. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And plus I have a variation of Misty Step. I can force Misty Step myself 30 feet. As a action, I don't know, hold on. Yeah, it's an action. So it's not a bonus action Misty Step. It would be on an action. But, yeah, you basically do a Misty Step if you wanted to. And you can use bonus action, cunning action, hide afterwards or whatever. So yeah, maybe in the long run this will actually do more damage and all. So when we get back to this, I'll have to figure out race, because I still haven't figured out race for this yet. I'm still in the Swift Stride still, because again, a Swift Stride I get the extra little temporary HP, which helps, which is 8. Bringing our health total up to 54 at level 6. And 10 extra movement speed, which on the rogue for throwing daggers and stuff is really good, because it's 40. And also having a reaction to disengage, quote unquote, to move away. Because there's that option too. Plus it's up permanently. Unlike the Haragon, you only get 3 uses of it. And you have to burn a bonus action to do it. You get more movement off that one spot. And there we go through. Now, I know that Tabaxi would be a pretty good one to do for this, but I've made so many Tabaxi characters. And one of them is Set. Spoiler alert. One of the campaigns we have coming up from Friday Night Dice, I am actually playing a Tabaxi. So that's a spoiler alert there. And I actually played another Tabaxi on a one-shot. So I've rolled so many Tabaxi characters, I just want to do something else. Plus this character looks cool. I mean, it's a rabbit with kind of like these sonic daggers that they're kind of popping out like that. So that's kind of the idea I got going on. So a little bit more health than what we had over here. A little bit more damage will be a little more damage in the long run. Yes, I'm losing all these spells. I'm losing Mage Hand, Prestidigitation, Comprehend Languages, Cure Wounds, Disguise Self, Featherfall, Enhance Ability, and Invisibility. So I'm losing all the spells, though. So maybe the spells might make up for it, though. And the spell DC didn't matter because I'm not using these as attack spells. These are all supplementary helping spells. No, it's 1d8 plus 3. My bad. Alright. So, yeah. So, I'm going to get off now because I know in about 10 minutes is Critical Role. And nobody's going to watch me doing D&D when Critical Role's on. So, that'll do it for tonight. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Friday Night Dice, that's 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Saberwolf Gaming, 2Ms. We're going to continue our campaign series, and I think Ryan is going to start taking the reins now. He's sitting in the backseat for a while now, and as a paladin of the group, now with the intellect crown being smarter, I think he's going to start making some more decisions for the group now. I'm Saberwolf. Thank you very much, and have a good night.